How's everybody doing? Appreciate you being here. Just a tremendous tribute to these young men and the football team and the culture that they've established by just putting their nose down and grinding and working hard and trusting and believing. And I think as a staff and a program, we're just indebted to them because games like this, have typically not gone in our way over the last few years, and this culture has changed the program. I feel like we're just getting started, but that being said, open to questions.
Can you imagine a 7-6 game when you look at what Michigan State is, both defensively and offensively? This could be where you guys want to go.
Yeah, it was funny. We mentioned the locker room. Coach Cristobal, our offensive line coach, kept saying all week that, at 3:45, 4 o'clock, we checked the time was at. Decided it was all we needed is one more point. We felt that it was going to be that kind of a game. Just watching them on defense, most teams in the Big Ten had little success against them. They were really good, and we were going to have to take advantages of any opportunity that we did have. And we kept battling and battling. The defense played off the charts, continued to get the ball back to the offense, and was on the field probably 40-plus plays in the first half. And the offensive guys just kept battling because, again, it was going to be that type of – we referred to it as an NFL game, where it was going to take something to turn that game around, and you take a victory, whether it be 1 point, 2 points, or 50 points. And these guys found a way to get it done.
You playing an offense that struggled the way that they have lately. What is sort of the secret to make – what did you see that's not let them get going? And what do you see you could take away and make life different?
Well, I think the worst thing you can do is make light of their struggles throughout the season offensively. I think if you do that, you set yourself up for potential failure. We built them up to be as good as any offense that we've faced, and we'd like to give them that kind of respect. And I think we went in there just with a chip on our shoulder, respecting them, and at the same time, Troy and Jalen and Justin and all those guys just defensively, just Lana, it was great to have him back there, just led the way to one heck of a defensive performance. And that's, what can you say? It's kind of what you see on Sunday sometimes when two really good defenses go at it.
Mary, when you say it's going to take something to turn it around, then in your view, what was it? Because obviously the offense was struggling quite a bit, and it wasn't like a big play set up your possession and drive with plays in it.
Sure.
What was it that turned it and allowed that drive?
I would say moving the chains, right? That drive right there in the third quarter. It just got in rhythm, and all of a sudden it was chunk yardage. We were playing with tempo, and the key to playing with tempo is moving the sticks. The sticks started moving, and these guys connected on a couple different occasions. Got a couple chunk yardage runs as well, and they connected again in the end zone. They've been trying to find each other all day. It's good that they finally hooked up there, but that's basically it. Just running the offense.
Oh, it was beautiful. They ran the ball a lot, and we had a lot of opportunities to make plays. And I think a lot of the guys made a lot of plays, and we did a great job. We executed Coach Levis' game plan to a T. We gave up 6 points. That's too much, but we held it down in the red zone as we have all year and gave up just 3 instead of 6, and we take those points all day, especially when we have 10 and 13. Great combo, and they always go down the way and find a way to score. But, yeah, tremendous job to the guys up front. The D-line and the outside backers, couldn't have done it without them. Setting edges, staying stout. DBs held it down in the back end as well. It was just a great defensive performance all around.
I don't think we were doing necessarily anything different. I think we kind of just shot ourselves in the foot the first few drives, and I think guys kind of settled down and just fit their role, and we made some plays, and fortunately it came our way this year.
Mario, what happened after the Gatorade pass? Did your ring come up? Like, everyone was looking on the turf?
All right, this is embarrassing, all right? I thought I lost my wedding ring. It was in the locker room the whole time.
That's hilarious.
So now I've got 14 staffers extremely upset with me, but anyways, I like to focus on them.
Yeah, you had an upset wife when you lost that.
She's already, she's all over it, trust me. But, with everything, I can't speak enough about these guys and what they represent and what they are as competitors. I'm not an old man, but I'm not a young guy either. I'm kind of like, halftime through life, and I've gotten to see some really good locker rooms, and I've gotten to see some really good football teams and competitors. And you're not going to find guys like this. You know, it's hard. You go another 20, 30, 40 years coaching, and up you're around guys of this type of character, competitive character, as well as just character as human beings. So it's great to see them achieve, you know, that next level success and elevate the program to just continue just raising the standard. It's awesome. That's what can I say.
It's obviously a tough first half for you. Walk us through that go-ahead drive and the touchdown. You gave him a catch before, because the catch before is actually what gave you the program record. So walk us through both of those.
I would definitely just say just keeping my head and not getting down, especially guys like Justin and the rest of the offensive and defensive guys, just not letting me get down on myself after the first half, because I didn't play as well as I could. So just coming back, kind of like Justin said, we didn't do anything differently, but we just knew we could play up to our potential that we did, and that's kind of what happened.
What is your reaction to taking over with the program record? Now you said top of the list, you're broken in, you're going to hold that for a while, probably.
I'm not really sure. It's definitely something that was, I guess, a goal of mine once it was brought to my attention. But I guess I really think about it like that because I enjoyed the win more than anything. So, yeah, that's it. Side note, if he put me at tight end, I'd break his record.
In other words, he has no chance of breaking the record.
Nobody even laughed at that. Nobody thinks you can do that. You a hater, man.
Justin, what are you going to remember most about this season as a whole?
I think just how tough these guys are. Things didn't always go our way this year, but we battled through a lot and kind of found out how tough this crew is and how they stuck together, and we ended on top and we won our championship today, and looking forward to another year.
Mario, what did you guys see on the big swinging gate play and what went wrong there? Did you feel like that might have been?
We felt that the wind was swirling enough where the kick was going to be tough, and we felt that we probably had a better chance at having that than a 4th and I think it was 9 or 10. If we had gone a 4th and 5, we were just going to leave the offense out there. We felt we had it, and at the last second, you watch your linebacker point and couldn't rip out the timeout on time, and the ball was snapped, and then the horror began. You know, so that's when your son asks you. You know, when you watch that video, you know, that's like the NFL's worst plays. He asked me, "Did you run that NFL's worst play?" I go, "Yeah, thanks, buddy." You know, it was. It looked bad. It was something that we felt that we had, and but you know, they did sniff it out, and credit to them. But we felt that, you know, we want to take a shot at it. It had a better chance than a field goal.
What were you thinking on their last field goal attempt beforehand? You obviously iced the kicker earlier in the season. Just strategically, what were you thinking?
Keep the timeout. We had minute 26, something like that. Keep the timeout. If they made it, have a chance to get down the field and score, and keep it for the offense.
Justin, you're coming up with some one eliminating distractions. Do you feel that was effective? And what all went into the decision?
Yeah, one of the things that I wanted to kind of demonstrate was how committed I was to this team, and I think it was helpful to do it before the game and not leave it until after, so the bowl game didn't affect it. I've been committed and really excited to be back.
How much did you actually look into the NFL? Did you give it much thought?
Not a whole lot. I've kind of known what I wanted to do, and I'm just in a great situation and got great guys around me and excited to be here.
During the season, you said that Justin's decision to play into your own in the future. Do you have a timetable when you'll make a decision regarding next season? And for you, Troy, as well, do you have a timetable when you'll make a decision?
Man, we just won a game. I'm excited. I'm about to go celebrate with the team.
Coach, one of the bright spots today was Herbert reaching 3,000 passing yards, Dillon reaching 2,000, and still breaking that record. What can you say when you look back on those three and your offensive?
These guys they're just different and special, you know, in the way they approach their craft and the way they approach this sport. You know, they make the game better because of their commitment to it. And they make their teammates better because of their commitment to them and to the program. So it's guys like that build and rebuild programs and leave their legacy. And certainly it's something we're very fortunate and honored to have.
Mario, going into spring ball, and you have such a dynamic offense coming back, do you anticipate maybe any changes offensively? Not necessarily in the staff, but just offensive-minded about what you want to run next year?
I think every single year you have to. I think if you don't do that, I think you hurt yourself. I go back to 2014 and being at a place where you lose to Ohio State in the playoff game, and 2 days later you're on a plane to go visit University of Houston and sit down with Tom Herman and talk about tempo and talk about getting 11 personnel and the RPO world. So there's certainly some things that we need to explore, and as our personnel continues to develop and as we acquire certain personnel as well, I think you'll see us evolve more, especially when you have a quarterback like Justin and some of the weapons that we feel we have coming back and some of the guys coming in.
You mentioned in your opening statement rebuilding the culture and how the direction you thought that was. Combining that with having the guy Justin coming back, what is your kind of excitement level for?
Well, here's the thing. Oregon's, before we got here, and when I'm sure all these guys, when we were just growing up, Oregon was good for a long, long time, and these guys got to see it. And now they've taken on, the onus has been on us, has been on them to rebuild it. And I think when guys dig in their heels and draw a line in the sand and say we're going to get it done, it speaks volumes. There's some teeth to it. You know what I mean? It's not just talk and tough guy chatter and whatnot. There's a legitimate just meat to it, and I think it's paid big time dividends.
Mario, do you have an update on, I think Brock went down and Dallas obviously didn't play.
Yeah, well, Throck went down and he hurt his ankle. We got him examined. It's a pretty good injury. He'll be back, but not it'll take a little while. But we're looking at an ankle issue. It could be a break in there. It could be a dislocation. But the doctors, where they felt good that thing is going to be okay in time.
Mario, the public goal you guys had this year was take the pack. A lot of coaches between it and all that sort of stuff. Is that the same goal for next year, or do things change with what you have coming back? I mean, what realistically do you guys expect for next season?
You see Troy nodding. I don't think that could ever change.
The goal is always take the pack, whether we here or not. It's the culture, like Coach said. We're building the culture, we're building a brand, and we got to come to the most dominant team in the Pac-12, and that's our goal each year. So it doesn't matter whether me, Herb, or Mitch is here. It's always going to be take the pack.
And you understand where he's coming from? It's a daily thing now. It's not just a game. Taking the pack is the way you lift. It's the way you run. It's the way you handle your business. So, and these guys right here, they epitomize that. So.
Mario, yesterday was obviously quite sudden. The news that developed elsewhere. How chaotic was that at all?
Wasn't too bad. Right?
Not at all.
Go Ducks. I think we're in the business of distraction, right? You're going to encounter it all the time, and we're on our way to practice, kind of like I mentioned out there with Bruce Feldman. It got a little bit noisy, and figured it was good to address it before it became noisy, to make it really clear that this is where I want to be, this is where I'm going to be, and that we're working on some things, obviously, with the athletic director to make that happen. So, but there was no waffling, there was no wavering or whatnot. So it got put to bed pretty quickly, And these guys were so focused. Honestly, this is a group of guys that if they showed up on the bus by themselves without a coaching staff, they'd find a way to get it done. That's the kind of faith that we have in.
Coach, we had you in Berkeley earlier this year. You're coming off the loss to Stanford. A lot of grumbling about what happened in that game against Stanford. You come in handling your business in Berkeley, and afterwards, I noticed that you guys sounded like a unified force. And I just want to know, in terms of turning points during the season, look back on that moment. Was that part of this culture that you built, during that period of time that would allow you to have guys forego millions of dollars to come back and want to be here, as long as they can be?
Well, I think those are two separate things. I think decisions regarding the NFL are separate than the culture itself. But in terms of the culture itself that they've really dug in and built, without question, because, we live in a world of motivation, right? Every time you guys see it, you go to a movie, like the first 15 minutes, like the guy's life is a disaster, right? Someone takes his car, they shoot his dog, he loses all his money, and then we cheer for the next hour and a half for him to make a comeback, right? Well, kind of everything's always kind of like that nowadays, where there has to be a motivating factor to get everybody going. These guys were motivated from the get-go. And when that happened, I think a lot of teams would have folded. I do. I think a lot of teams would have started pointing a finger. I think a lot of teams would have found an excuse or just found no reason to push through like, oh, all this work and all of a sudden, bam. But, that was a team that beat Oregon the year before, 49-7. And all of a sudden this thing comes down to overtime. And I think that's what spilled over to Washington, a game that was 71-20 a couple of years ago. All of a sudden we win that in overtime. So credit to these guys. I'm talking about all the credit to them and what they have established.
Year two of taking over becomes a big shift, mainly in the offseason, because obviously last year still went out of staff. Aaron went to Georgia, and in year two, they obviously reached the championship, and that's a big part of the strength and conditioning one. But that's really like the first step. There's no coaching going on.
Sure.
How quickly does this switch flip, and for the players, how quickly does this switch to hitting the gym again, going through that program?
Yeah, the body's got to get back. You have to have 14 days where those bodies do get back, and that's active rest. That's shooting some hoops and getting in the pool. But being that a game has been played on the 31st, we ain't gonna touch a weight until 2 weeks into the semester, okay, and focus on academics and getting locked in. Now that being said, it's built into the off-season program, the fourth quarter program, and everything that goes with it. It is these guys will tell you, it's a very structured, definitive, get after it type of program that changes your team. And now last year was like the basic training part. This year will be an escalated, elevated version of that. So I don't want to scare these guys to leave. So but it's a different. You know what it does? It's all the football movements, and now because the staff has been through it one time, now they can implement the second phase that goes with it to help our team get better.
As a final question for coaches or player?
Sure, you've obviously been a part of a lot of shootouts. What's it like to, have the defense kind of be the ultimate decider of this game, and then I saw you kind of carrying the trophy off the field. What was that feeling like?
Man, it was great. Like you said, we've been through a lot of shootouts where it was on us and we gave up a lot of points. So to come out here and hold a Michigan State offense, which to 6 points is crazy, and I'm super proud of the guys coming out and fighting the way they fought. But, yeah, you don't get trophies when you lose, so we took all the trophies with us.
All right, thank you all very much.